Before we moved on, I wanted to talk a little bit more about input devices and output devices. Examples of input devices would be your keyboard, a scanner, drives when we take data from the drives and dump them into main storage, a microphone, a camera, a mouse or a joystick. Those are all great examples of ways to get different kinds of data into main memory so we can process it. Once you create information, the data sits in main memory, and we want to send that that information out to output devices. And examples of output devices would be monitors. Anything on the monitor we say is soft copy. Printers, anything produced by the printer is hard copy. Projectors, plotters are things that tools that create maps and graphs and charts. And a speaker. I mean, my goodness, you've never played a game and didn't have a speaker. I mean, without a speaker, the game wouldn't be very good. So these are all examples of output devices. Now, when you think of main memory, I want you to think about a couple things. Here's an example of main memory. Each one of these positions in main memory would have an address. And if you had a machine that had 4 gigabytes of main memory, you'd actually have 4 billion different positions in memory, 4 billion mail slots, so to speak. Now, in main memory, we say that 1 character can be stored in 1 byte. So if that's the case, okay, 1 character can be stored in 1 byte, and one of these positions would be a byte. Okay, so 1 character can be stored in 1 byte. 1,000 characters would be 1K. Technically 1,024, but we just rounded down. 1,000 characters can be is 1K. Now, if you had 1,000K, that would be 1 megabyte. That's 1 million bytes. If you had 1,000 megabytes, that would be 1 gigabyte. That would be 1 billion bytes. And if you had 1,000 gigabytes, you would have 1 terabyte. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is the size of main storage is really, really important. The more crowded main storage is, the slower things happen. And the larger main storage is, say, the less crowded, the faster things can happen. Here's a really good analogy. Think about a parking garage for a sports event, and you parked at the top level of the parking garage on a night that you have a full house for the sporting event. Think about how long it takes you to drive your car down 6 or 7 levels to exit the garage. Now, if you went to that same parking garage, and you were there on a Sunday morning at 6 in the morning and no one was in the garage, it would take you about 3 minutes to drive all the way up to the top and another 2 or 3 minutes to drive all the way down to the bottom. You could move very, very quickly if there was no traffic, no cars in that parking garage. But when you had a full house for the sporting event, it took you a half an hour to drive from the top of the garage down to the bottom. That's kind of the idea with main memory. The more data, the more crowded main storage is, the slower things happen. And the less crowded, faster things happen. So the ultimate goal is to have main memory as big as you can have. Have as much main memory, as much main storage as you can have.